Welcome to the programme. My name's Charlie Burton, and today I'm interviewing independent trader Scott Edwards. Scott, welcome to the programme.
Charlie, thank you for having me.
Well, Scott, tell us a little bit about your story. What's your career, and how did you get into trading?
Well, I'm a software developer by trade, and a few years ago one of my friends got involved in trading. A typical entry story, signal services and all that sort of thing. And so I got involved and I was taking these signals in the Forex market, and I realized after a while this isn't really working.
So why did you think it wasn't working? What was it about it?
I feel that if you're taking signals, you don't really understand what you're doing. You're kind of just accepting someone else's analysis, and you don't have a deep understanding of what's actually going on in the market or even how the thing works in the first place. So I decided to take a step back and actually educate myself.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry to interrupt you again here, but the signals itself, were they genuine? I know that they were genuine signals, but you know where I'm going with this. Was it a genuine company?
No, it wasn't.
Right.
And they typically aren't, I find. They tend to be more on the multi-level marketing side.
Right.
And they're not there to make you wealthy. They're there to sell their service.
Okay, right. That's what I just wanted to get to the bottom of, because sometimes there is an alternative agenda going on. They're more of a marketing company, like you said, rather than a real trading company. Yeah.
So that didn't work, and I could have just stepped away, but there's something about the markets that fascinates me, and so I decided to see if I could do something myself there, see if I could make myself a bit of money. Obviously, initially I thought, I'm going to be a millionaire overnight, and the allure of the money brought me in.
Yeah.
But the more I did it, the more I realized I really enjoy this. I enjoy the challenge, I enjoy the learning, so here I am today, trying to make it as an independent retail trader.
And this initially was quite some years ago, wasn't it? Your initial, foray into trading.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
About 2.5 years ago.
Right. Okay.
I spent quite a lot of time initially just studying, so reading books, watching YouTube videos, doing courses, connected with a mentor, etc. before I actually started trading my own money.
Right.
I wanted to educate myself up front. And sometimes I think it would have been better to get into the market a bit earlier with a smaller account, because you can do all the theory you like, but nothing beats experience.
No, true. And so you've done the right thing. So like you say, you've done a bit of learning. What sort of books have you read?
So one that's really helped me is Clive Lambert's Candlestick Patterns.
Okay.
That's an excellent read on technical analysis.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of online courses actually on the basics.
Right.
There is a course online called the Baby Pips course. It's very well known.
Yeah.
That'll teach you sort of Forex 101 and Trading 101.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. But when it came down to finding some sort of edge in the market, I found that the things I was reading and learning weren't really helping me. Because if it was as simple as that, of course, we'd all be millionaires.
Yeah.
So at that point, I sought out a mentor. And that's really made all the difference.
Because someone who can just look over what you're doing and just give you some tweaks and some advice on various little bits, and it's the details, isn't it, sometimes, that you don't even realise you're making, call it a mistake, but there could be some basic errors, there could be some more technical errors as well, where someone can look at what you're doing and just say, oh yeah, do this, do it this way,
exactly.
which you would have figured it out for yourself, but a lot of the time, but it might have just taken you a lot longer.
It might have taken me several years for all I know, right? The retail trading journey is also challenging. From a psychological point of view, an emotional point of view, it is difficult. It's interesting because you read all of these things, these pieces of advice saying, you're going to struggle with this, you're going to struggle with that, you're going to struggle with the other, and you think to yourself, no, I'm a big, strong man, I'll be fine, that won't happen to me, and then it does. And it's very helpful to have somebody who can say, yes, that's perfectly normal, think about this, manage it this way, etc. Someone who can guide you, basically.
Give me an example of a psychological or mindset part of trading which you've had to, I say overcome, you're probably still dealing with, but you found an obstacle in that sense. So give me an example of something around mindset or psychology where you say, this affected me.
The most common thing I have to deal with is overtrading. I tend to So I was initially trading the 15-minute charts, looking for day trading setups. And you're flipping through them and you think to yourself, there must be a setup somewhere. There must be, right? And so you start spotting things that aren't really there. And you take a step back and you look at your account and you've got 20 trades on, and there's not really any setup anywhere. And the way I overcome that is actually talking to my mentor about it. So I keep a trade journal, a very detailed trade journal. And I was filling it in and he said to me, let's have a look at it. And I showed him and he went, I did something like 200 trades over 2 months. And he went, that is a lot. Can you explain the patterns you were looking at for me? And I tried, because I screenshot all my trades as well, and I tried to explain, here was a 1, 2, 3 setup, and I saw a level here, and he kind of was going, there's nothing there. You're just over trading, basically. It's difficult to overcome this stuff sometimes. There's a level of self-awareness that you need to craft or aspire to. It's very easy to get sucked into that trading terminal and just get market eyes on. I don't really know how to say it properly.
how have you managed to take that step back from that over trading element? How have you managed to slow things down?
Interestingly enough, meditation.
Okay.
So first thing in the morning, before I even touch the computer, I do a 10 to 20 minute session, and then I do one over lunchtime, and I do one at the close of the day as well. And what I find it does is, while I'm doing it, I notice that my mind is incredibly busy. There are lots of thoughts firing around. I'm thinking about what I had for breakfast, and I'm thinking about money, and I'm thinking about trading, and I'm thinking about what am I going to do this weekend. And I realize that it's quite chaotic inside there. And stepping back, meditating, focusing on the breath, almost puts your mind into a single-threaded train of thought. Right? You can just focus on one thing at a time, and that's very calmly looking for setups. And if they're not there, not taking anything.
Okay, so the meditation is twofold. You've got one part of it, which is to try and relax you and to calm you down. The other part of it is almost like a visualization exercise, I'm assuming, the way you're saying. So you're actually visualizing yourself taking your time over setups, and because I'm a big advocate of this, coming from a sports background as well. The professional sports people meditate. A golfer will meditate, or visualize, should I say. They'll visualize that ball and the line it's going to go in and where it's going to land and everything else. My sister-in-law is an ex-Olympic silver medalist speed skater, and she used to visualize that very first step when you see these speed skaters and off they go, how that skate would hit the ice, the exact place where the blade would hit the ice as well. Huge amount of visualization, and yet people don't do it in trading.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it may sound a bit out there to some people, and it may sound a bit strange, but if it helps you with your edge and it pushes your P&L up, I'm all for it, right? Yeah. You can judge people for the way they trade, but at the end of the day, if they're making cash, they're making cash.
Yeah, exactly. And but as we were saying earlier on, trading is all it's all about psychology, really. Once you've learned strategies, it's really about your mindset, and so it's how people can cope with all of the various aspects psychologically within trading that the markets are going to throw at you. And so if you can visualize just enough for something like that to calm you down and so you're not over trading, then that's a great exercise to do. Okay. So moving on from that, so where are you right now with your trading?
So right now, as a trader, I'm break even, which I'm fairly happy with. I am working on my strategies. I'm working on a couple of technical indicators and things that I'm building myself to automate my workflow a little bit. And I'm trying to find something that gives me a trading style that I'm happy with. I think day trading is possibly not for me. And so I'm basically doing backtesting analysis on swing trading setups and trying to figure out something that I can take back into a day job scenario, right? So I work for a company that's fairly relaxed, and so I'm able to trade the 4-hour bar if I want, and I need to figure out some mostly mechanical way to trade the Forex pairs on the 4-hour chart with a look up, of course, to the daily and weekly charts for overall trend.
So you're in a nice position at the moment where you've got a little bit of time off from work, got a slight sabbatical for a few months, so you can spend some time doing some data mining and doing some testing, I guess, and that's what you're doing at the moment.
That's correct. The other thing is getting some chart time. Sitting in front of, say, cable and just watching the thing move. that helps you get a feel for things, rather than if you're looking at things in the evening and back testing, you're just looking at static candlesticks and you're not seeing that action unfold on screen. So I'm very privileged to be able to sit in front of that terminal all day.
Yeah.
It does take a bit of flexing of the discipline muscle. There's no one there to hold you accountable if you don't do it. There's no boss waiting for a deliverable. There's nothing like that. You've got to be super duper disciplined at getting that stuff done.
At this moment, how does your wife feel about your trading and this whole exercise that you've undertaken?
So I'm very lucky here. My wife is very understanding. She's very patient, so thank goodness for that. She understands that this is my passion. She actually calls the markets my mistress. Yeah, and she understands that I need to figure out if long term this is the thing for me, and she's supportive. And I would say that is an incredibly important thing if you are going to take on retail trading as a challenge, is you need to explain to your partner, if you have one, what it is you're doing, why you're doing it, give them a little bit of understanding about how things work, and get their support.
I think it's a really good point to finish up on for this end of part one, actually. And we're going to come back in part two. We're going to talk about the support networks, and then we're going to talk in a bit more detail about some of this work that you're doing with the testing and the software you're using. So we shall be back very shortly.